All right, moving away from the concept of exempt, and this is probably one of the most important pieces of it. They want to eliminate the exempt review category and replace it with something else. Next. The goals for revising the category of exempt review is to increase protections, which they think are mostly, under the exempt category, informational risks. Information that connects your identity with sensitive information about you and who is in charge of that data set. And then in some cases they want to say, well, even though it's going to be kind of exempt, only we're going to change it, we're going to give it a new word, we're going to call it excused. We still might require consent, maybe even documentation of consent for some activities within that excused category. So that's a little bit different. None of that is the case now with the exempt category, but it might be with the excused. And then we're going to broaden the types of studies that would qualify for the exempt category. As we've mentioned a couple of times, interpretation of whether or not a particular proposed research activity fits within one of those 6 categories is the call of the IRB, and IRBs sometimes make different calls. This proposal is, we're going to write those categories. First of all, we're going to revise the categories. There may be 6, there may be more. And we're going to revise them, and we're going to make them so crystal clear. We're going to give you enough examples that anybody can tell immediately whether or not their proposed research fits into one of those categories or not. And if it does, then it's excused. Interesting. In the current system, exempt means exempt from the Code of Federal Regulations. It does not mean exempt from review. Right? Excused means excused from the Code of Federal Regulations, excused from review. Nobody in the IRB would ever see it. Nobody in the IRB staff would ever see it except to file it. It simply comes in, here's my proposal, this fits excused category 3A, and I'm going to start Wednesday. And we simply get that and we file it. And then after the fact, we do some random auditing periodically of some small number to make sure that the people got it right. You know, that really is an excused category of research that you're doing. And of course, if we discover that somebody got it wrong and they're doing something that's not in the excused category, then we have to take corrective measures and institute preventive actions so that better training occurs. But, and they're very clear about this is not the IRB's job. This is the institution's job. If they want to give it to the IRB, that's their choice, but if they want to give it to somebody else, like the compliance office, that's their choice too. If they want to give it to education, that's their choice. It's not regulatory. All right, now, as I said, all of these only apply to the common rule, subpart A, which is the Department of Health and Human Services. FDA, anybody who's ever dealt with the FDA, did not agree to any of these proposed changes. So none of their rules are affected. They might join the party later, we don't know. But right now the FDA says, yeah, we're fine. All right. Excused rather than exempt. Excused from being required to undergo some form of IRB review, but it requires, and this is an institutional requirement, that all the data security and information protection standards apply to everybody, and in some cases, informed consent is a part of it. And that would be explained in the excused categories once they're written. Next.